Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is September 12th, 2023, and the German investment fund LIBERO is yet to pay Barcelona the money they owe them. Also, I have the entire breakdown of the new Spotify Camp Now and how much money it will generate once it's completed. And finally, Dani Olmo could still sign for Barcelona because he has a secret clause that he insisted be inserted into his contract. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and before we begin with the news, just a quick reminder to make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way in helping this channel continue to grow. Also, if you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, including Barcelona's newest third kit, make sure you hit the kit bag. And if you are looking to place any sports bets, not just on Barcelona matches, but on any football or any sporting event, make sure you hit the Bet Us. Both links are down below in the description. Now, I'll begin with the news that the German investment fund LIBERO has yet to pay Barcelona the 40 million euros that they owe the club. Now, as you might recall, Barcelona activated an economic lever last summer when they sold 49% of Barca studios to two companies, Orpheus Media and Socios.com. And those two companies paid the initial down payment, but then they failed to pay the first out of the three installment payments that they owed Barcelona. So as a result, the club took away 29% of Barca Studios from these two companies and began to negotiate a sale to the German fund LIBERO. Now, a Mexican investment fund approached Barcelona when LIBERO were kind of hesitant about finalizing the deal, and when Barcelona were very close to finalizing the sale to the Mexican investment fund, LIBERO heard about these negotiations and decided to up their offer. So Barcelona ended up selling these 29% of Barca Studio to the German fund LIBERO. Now, LIBERO failed to pay Barcelona during the summer transfer market the money that they owed the club. And as a result, Joan Laporta and another board of directors member had to put money out of their own pocket in order to guarantee the registration of the contracts of the players that were remaining. And while it seems that the German fund LIBERO have yet to pay Barcelona the 40 million euros. Now, Barcelona have given LIBERO a final deadline of October 10th, 2023. So if the German fund does not pay the 40 million euros that they owe Barcelona by that deadline, then Barcelona will cancel the deal and will have to look for a new investment fund in order to sell the remaining of Barca Studios. Now, moving on to better news, Barcelona have released their projections of how much the new Spotify Camp Nou stadium will make once the renovations are complete. Now, as you already know, the Spotify Camp Nou is undergoing major renovations under the Espai Barça project, which will cost Barcelona 1.5 billion euros. And this money will be used not only to renew or renovate the Spotify Camp Nou, it will also be used to renovate other Barcelona facilities, such as the Palau Blaugrana, where the basketball and hockey teams play. Now, I made a special video about the Spotify Camp Nou renovations where I took my camera to the Spotify Camp Nou and filmed footage of the current state of the stadium and the renovations that it's currently undergoing. So if you do want to check out that video, I will link it at the end of this one. Now, going back to the Espai Barça project, as you already know, the team is currently playing at the Olympic Stadium in Montjuic because the Spotify Camp Nou will be closed for the entire season. And it's expected that the first team will go back to the Spotify Camp Nou in November of 2024. However, the stadium will not be fully ready by then, and the Spotify Camp Nou will not be fully ready until the end of the 2025-2026 season. Now, June 2026 is when the grace period ends for the loan on the Espai Barça project. So in other words, that's when Barcelona will have to begin paying out the loans to the 20 investors who have funded the Espai Barça project by giving Barcelona 1.5 billion euros. Now, as part of this investment deal, the 20 investors have requested or required that Barcelona generate at least 90 million euros per season. And if Barcelona fail to meet this target, then these investors will have the power to remove whichever executive in the board that's in charge of the generating the income of the stadium and the investors will be able to install their own consultant at the club to make sure that the stadium starts generating that minimum 90 million euros per season. Well, the good news is that Barcelona have released their projections that show that the stadium will make way more than those minimum 90 million euros per season. And the projections show that once the Spotify Camp Nou is complete at the end of 2025-2026 season, it will start generating 340 million euros per season. Now, Barcelona expect to make around 79 million euros from the sale of museum tickets, 73 million euros from the sale of tickets to the matches, 76 million euros from hospitality boxes or the VIP boxes, 50 million euros from the season tickets, 47 million euros from sponsors, 8 million euros from meetings and events that Barcelona will hold at the Spotify Camp Nou when there are no matches, 8 million euros from food and drinks, and finally 2 million euros from parking, and that totals out to 340 million euros per season, which is of course good news for the club, because not only will Barcelona be able to pay the 1.5 billion euro loan, but also this is a lot of money that will also help the club's financial situation. Now, this goes to the people who kept saying, why is Barcelona borrowing 1.5 billion euros to renovate the stadium when the club is broke? And well, a rule of business is you have to spend money in order to earn money. This is exactly what Barcelona is doing. They are spending money, but in return, they will be making 340 million euros per season, which means that in less than 5 seasons, they'll be able to pay the entire loan back, and everything after that will be pure profit for the club. Now, speaking of the club, Barcelona have scheduled the official presentation of Deco for tomorrow, Wednesday, September the 13th. Now, as you already know, Barcelona have appointed Deco as the new sporting director of the club, a role that he's been working in for quite some time by now. However, his official presentation as the official sporting director of Barcelona will not take place until tomorrow, Wednesday, September the 13th. Now, it's reported that Deco has requested that the head of every scouting group from every part of the world be present at his presentation. And no, he's not doing this as an ego boost. He's doing this because Deco wants to meet the head of every scouting group from all parts of the world, because Deco wants to change the mission of the club from signing big name players for a lot of money to identifying young talent who have a lot of potential and sign them before their prices explode. Now, pretty much Deco wants Barcelona to be like Dortmund or Leipzig or even Ajax, a club that can identify young talent with lots of potential from all around the world and sign them up before they reach that potential, so Barcelona can groom them and help them grow and eventually promote them to the first team and have superstars on their hands without having to pay the ridiculous prices of the current transfer market, where we're seeing players go for as high as 120 million euros. So pretty much Barcelona want to repeat the formula that they followed with Miguel Faye, where none of us had heard of this player and Barcelona signed him for next to nothing. It was, I think, 1.5 million euros. And yet now there's not even a single coach in Barcelona. They are not saying the same exact thing, which is that Miguel Faye will be a generational talent and that they have no doubts that he will be one of the best center backs in the world. Now, I'm very glad that Deco is willing to change the mission of Barcelona from signing big name players for a lot of money to identifying young talent with a lot of potential. Because if you look at the history of the club, Barcelona have done best when they've groomed their own talent. And one big example is Pep Guardiola's Barcelona, who was all made up from players from La Masia. Now, we've also seen what signing big name players for a lot of money does to the club. And the biggest example of that is under the presidency of Bartomeu, where Barcelona spent hundreds of millions of euros signing players like Dembele, Griezmann, and Coutinho, who not only could not succeed in Barcelona, but at the end of the day, it took Barcelona to the verge of bankruptcy and to financial ruin. Now, on to the news that Barcelona have suffered another injury blow as İlkay Gundogan got injured in the match between Germany and France. Now, we don't know the extent or what kind of injury İlkay Gundogan has suffered, but he was seen clenching his lower back as he walked off the field. So it could be a back injury, and we also don't know how long this injury will be, and we won't know that until İlkay Gundogan flies back to Barcelona and undergoes medical exams. Now, hopefully this is not a serious injury and we'll not see İlkay Gundogan on the stands for too long, because after all, Barcelona do have Pedri and Ronald Araujo currently on the injury list. Now, the silver lining out of this news is that we could see Marc Asado being called up to the first team, because there are reports saying that Xabi's technical staff are insisting that Xabi call up Marc Asado because they really want to see him play with the first team. And if we see Ilkay Gundogan sit out a few matches, then there'll be one more spot open for another midfielder. So who knows, maybe we'll see Marc Asado have some more playing time. Now, speaking of the international break, Barcelona players continue to shine during the FIFA international break, as both Ferran Torres and Gavi scored in Spain's thrashing against Cyprus. Now, Gavi scored 1 goal and Ferran Torres scored a brace. And well, you might say, who cares, it was against Cyprus. But I think it's very important, especially for Ferran Torres, because scoring goals, no matter against what team it is, always helps the confidence of the player, especially in the confidence of an attacker who really need to score goals, and they thrive on scoring goals. So hopefully this will help Ferran Torres to continue his momentum, because so far he is the top scorer of Barcelona in La Liga. And speaking of Spain and Spanish players, it's reported that Dani Olmo could still sign for Barcelona because he has negotiated a low release clause that would allow him to do so. Now, I reported several weeks ago about Bernardo Silva renewing his contract with Manchester City, but negotiating a release clause with the Premier League club that would allow him to leave for around 60 million euros. And it's reported that Bernardo Silva did this in case Barcelona are still interested in signing him in the upcoming transfer markets. Well, it seems that Dani Olmo has followed the same exact recipe as Bernardo Silva, because he has been linked several times in the past with Barcelona, especially this past summer transfer market, where Barcelona opted not to go for Dani Olmo because they did have other priorities ahead of the Spanish player. Now, Dani Olmo did renew his contract with his current team Leipzig until 2027, but it's reported that he has negotiated a release clause that would allow him to leave for around 60 million euros, because again, he's keeping that door open in case Barcelona do want to sign him, because the player has made it very clear that it's his dream to play for Barcelona. Now, for now, it's not Barcelona's interest or priority to sign Dani Olmo, so don't mistake this news as interest on behalf of the club. This is simply the player keeping the door open in case Barcelona do decide to make a move for him in the future. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like. Also, I'd like to invite all of you to please leave a comment down below, giving me all your thoughts and opinions about all the news that I share with you. And finally, I would like to invite all of you to please subscribe to the channel so you can stay current on all the latest news in regards to our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. And as always, Visca Barça.